Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the John Doe Review. My name is Danielle. John Doe, obviously. I got this little mic on me, and y'all, if there was an episode that I debated skipping, it was this one. I am so exhausted. We just got back from Japan, had a great time, went to Georgia and Florida right after because we're crackheads. We'll explain later. But we have quite a few fun topics to talk about today. I don't think this episode will be super long, though, because, again, I am very tired. I was supposed to, usually I work from home on Wednesdays, and Wednesdays are the days that I record these episodes. And I was going to have to leave for a work thing, but I've just felt literally dead since we got back to Texas on Sunday. And then I had a late night at work on Monday and a late night at work on Tuesday. And so then I woke up today and I was like, I can't do this. So I texted my coworker who I was going to go out with, and I was like, are you okay if I sit this one out? And he was like, yeah, girl, catch up on sleep. And I was like, say less. So shout out him. He knows who he is. But yeah, so today's topics are literally just going to be different things that we did in Japan. We did quite a few interesting experiences that I think you guys will be interested to hear about. And then I'll talk about my little trip to Florida right after it. And I think that's literally it. Do I have any other topics for this episode? Oh, yeah, that's literally it. So let's get right to it. Oh, also, side note, if you see Ash in the background with a cone on his head, if you're watching this, like on YouTube, he has an allergy problem and he keeps licking at his paws. And he stopped for a little bit because we were treating it, and then we were like, okay, let's see what happens if we stop it. And now he's licking him again. So if you see a little cone head in the background, that's what that is. Ash! Hey! Oh, get down! All right, first and only topic, Japan. Oh, there's like half of a topic about Florida, so I'll give Florida its respect. So first of two topics, Japan. Me and Hunter got really lucky in that my dad works for Delta, so he was able to hook us up with tickets, and we only had to pay the tax on these round trip tickets to Japan. So to go there and back cost $44 each. So we spent $88 to go to Japan. And because my dad has been there for so long, we were high on the upgrade list, which is basically like a list where if there are better seats that don't get bought than yours, you get upgraded to them for free. And so we got upgraded to Delta One, which is like first class times 1,000. Like you're in your own little suite. You can literally close the door. Your seat turns into a bed. It was amazing. I've flown it before because of my dad's benefits, but I was really, really wanting Hunter to get to experience it because he had never flown outside the US. And then like, oh my God, now you get to experience Delta One. And so he got to have that experience. It was super fun. We slept on the plane. We tried to time it with Japan's time because they're like 14 hours ahead of us. But how the flight did the meals and stuff, like we didn't really get to adjust our sleep at all. But we did knock out on the plane, like fully, like leaned all the way back. The flight gave us a duvet, a mattress cover, like blindfolds, lip balm, like bro. And I brought face masks. It was amazing, dude. I like moved into that plane for that little 13-hour flight. And so we get there and we're feeling a little tired, but you know, we get our luggage. We checked an empty, like large suitcase because we knew we were going to shop there. So we were like, okay, let's just like check some empty luggage to make sure we have space to bring things home. We get the luggage. We are standing kind of at the front of the airport and we're deciding, okay, we're in Japan. Do we want to just take a taxi to our hotel? Which would be like 60, 70 bucks, which like isn't crazy expensive, but like, it's 60, 70 bucks we can spend on something else. Or do we want to like really get the Japanese lived-in experience and like start taking the subway system now? And so I was kind of like, either way. And Hunter was like, no, like I want to navigate the subway. And I was like, okay, first international trip. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this. Man, when I tell you the perspiration of dragging, I had 2 bags. Hunter had his 2 bags and the like huge check like roller thing. And we are moving through stairs, cobblestone streets, packed elevators, going up and down, getting on the train, getting off the train, looking at Google Maps because we don't know where we are. It took us probably an hour to make it home because of just like all the stopping we did ourselves because we would get confused. There was a portion where like we didn't even know if we had the right card. There's like this transit card called a Suica card, and we're like, do we have the right card? Like we see people tapping something, but we can't see it because it's on their phone and blah blah blah. And so then we end up meeting with another. They sounded American couple, and they kind of get ahead of us getting into like a certain like intersection between trains. Like we were hopping from one train to another, and there was another set of gates that you had to scan in. And so we're there and we're like, wait, because I see people using physical tickets here, and we don't have any physical tickets. We just have the thing on our phone and blah blah blah. And so then this couple walks ahead of us and is trying to talk to like the station guy who's at the gate, and he's like, hey man, like our tickets aren't working. Like, are we supposed to do this or do we do something else? And this guy, which this was like one of the only situations where we were talking to someone and they genuinely like didn't know any English, which like rightfully so, we're in your country, right? Like, why would you know it? So this guy is hearing the American guy talk to him in English, and then he's like responding in Japanese. And so then both of them are kind of like, and so then they just keep talking to each other in opposing languages. And so, and then it starts like low key getting heated. And me and Hunter are just standing there because like the Japanese guy, he's just saying shit in Japanese. So he's like, Japanese, gesture, thumbs up. And then the American guy's like, English, point to luggage, point to ticket machine, question mark? And so, and this interaction is happening while me and Hunter are like squeezed in right behind them. And then like locals are like squeezing past us and like kind of side eyeing us, like y'all are fucking blocking this shit. And then finally, as these guys go back and forth for probably like 3 or 4 minutes, another worker catches like what's happening and walks over. And I guess he spoke a little English. So he was like, come. And we're like, okay. And we like walk up to him and he like brings out this little like card tap machine thing. And he like does some gestures that makes it clear that like we're about to buy like a ticket. And he just goes, tap. And we were like, yes, sir. He like tapped the thing. And then he was like, thank you. And we were like, yes, arigatou gozaimasu. Bro. And so, and that was one of the only situations where like, I was surprised that it didn't happen more often, where like we just really struggled with communicating with people. For the most part, everywhere we went, people spoke English. Like it almost seemed like in most of the stores we went to that maybe it was a requirement that you were semi-fluent in English. And I don't mean like full on, like can have a full-blown conversation with me, but like could very much, you know, get your point across clearly. Which was really impressive to me because like, man, I try to Duolingo some Japanese, and like speaking it, sure, that's one thing. Reading, no, I tried. I don't, props to them. I don't know how they do it, man. But anyways, so we finally get to the hotel. After this long journey, dragging 5 bags with us. You want to know what the first thing we did was when we walked into the hotel room dripping in sweat? We stripped down to our underwear and laid on the floor. Like immediately, because okay, I have a thing with like outside clothes on the bed. So I told Hunter, I was like, I want to lay down really bad, but like our clothes are filthy right now because we've like been on a plane for 13 hours and like walked through the streets and now we're like sweating. And so then I was like, I'm stripping to my underwear. So I like took my clothes off and then just like laid on the ground. And our hotel room was very cute. It was quite small, but I've heard that hotels in Tokyo are usually smaller. So it was literally like a room with a bed and then like a hallway. And in that hallway was like the sink, a little area to like hang like jackets or shirts or whatever. And then the shower was its own enclosed room, like fully like door shut, like practically no ventilation. With like a speaker setup, you could hook your phone up. So we were jamming in the shower. And then next to that room was the toilet. And dude, if we want to talk about Japanese toilets, heated seats, bidet for the back and the front. And also public toilets also had a little button for white noise if you had a shit. What? What? And you could change the volume on how loud you wanted your waterfall to be? What? Don't ask me how I know that information, okay? Don't ask me how many times I used it, okay? So I get up off the floor and I immediately have to try the toilet out because like I had heard that they had all of these features I just said, except the white noise surprised me when I went to a public restroom. But like every single toilet we went to was like decked out. And so obviously I went to the toilet. I had to use the bidet, obviously, in the back and the front. Because why not be extra fresh? Okay. And if you're judging me, you got a stinky butt. That's all I have to say. I literally got up from using the toilet from the first time and turned to Hunter and was like, whenever we get our own house, like that we own, we're buying a fucking Toto toilet. I think that was the brand. And like, bro, you could control the pressure of the water. Like, holy shit, man. Changed my life. So then after that amazing experience, we took a shower and then, cleaned up, freshened up. And by that point, we had like an hour and a half until we had our like actual scheduled activity for that day. Because we got to Japan, we left the States on a Thursday, like morning, and then got to Japan on Friday at like a little afternoon. And so then we got to the hotel around, or like close-ish to 2. And so after like showering, laying down, all of that, it was like 3 something. And we had an appointment for chopstick making, like carving out and like shaping and engraving your own chopsticks. And I specifically scheduled it for that first day because I knew we were going to be tired. And I was like, I want us to have something solidified that we cannot just like say, oh, we'll do it another day, which like technically we could, but I was like, I want us to have something that'll force us to stay awake. And so we were like, okay, we'll take a nap for like 30 minutes and then we'll get up and go to this chopstick shop. We close the blackout curtain. It completely blacks out the entire room, dude. Wake up from the nap. And when I tell you, I have never felt so exhausted in my entire life. Because it was like, it's like a 14-hour difference. So if it's like 4 o'clock there, it's like 2 a.m. where we're from. And so I'm like, and mind you, like we didn't really sleep on the plane that much because ultimately like it is a plane at the end of the day. Like I don't sleep the best on planes. Even if I'm like in a fucking makeshift bed, we're just laying there staring at each other and going, we have the chopstick shop. We have the chopstick shop. We gotta go. And so then finally we build up the courage to get up and we start walking to this place. It's about like a 12-ish minute walk. Which, like, side note, we practically walked everywhere or rode the train in Japan. And oh my goodness, I wish I could live in a walkable city like that. That's not dirty. I feel like Tokyo was what New York wanted to be. But New York is like extremely dirty and the people are rude. And I hate New York. And look, if you're somebody who likes New York, power to you. I don't like it. I don't like New York. I think it's really gross and it stresses me out. Japan? Everybody's respectful. The streets are clean. Fucking, the train sings to you. And the toilets are amazing. But I think that's just an all Japan thing. Or probably like in most of Asia, I could imagine. But so we're walking to the shop. And I start feeling nauseous. And something about me, if you didn't know, is look, I'm a puker. Okay? It doesn't take much. If my body is feeling any extreme of an emotion, including extreme excitement and happiness, I will feel nauseous and sometimes puke. If anything, most likely will puke. Like, and I'm not one of those people where it's like, oh, I don't want to puke. Like, I hate puking. I haven't puked in years. No, like, if I feel the urge to puke, I'm like, come on, let's just get it over with. Because I know I'm going to feel better afterwards. And so we're walking to this chopstick shop, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling kind of nauseous, but like, it's not at puke level yet. I think I'm just really fucking tired. We get to the shop. it smells of like wood and oils, and like it's a good smell, but it's strong. So we pick the wood we want to carve, and we're carving our chopsticks, and standing up, shook, 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 right? I'm carving the fuck out of this chopstick. And my stomach starts doing that cramping, that like, right? And I'm like, okay, Danielle, you're in the middle of a chopstick shop in Japan. Like, we can't do this right now. We don't even know if there's like a bathroom. Because I also know that in Japan, like public restrooms aren't that like common like that. So I'm like, we can't do this right now, sister. We gotta lock in. But eventually it turns to my mouth starts watering. And if you have ever puked in your life, which I'm assuming everybody has, when you start getting that mouth water, it's game over. It's game over. So in the middle of like one of the employees checking in with us, like, hey guys, like, do you need any help? Blah, blah, blah. I look at her and I go, do you have a bathroom? And she was like, yeah, like over here. And she takes me and I realize it's like the employee restroom. And so I walk in, close the door, and immediately, sorry if this is too much for you, immediately I go, like the loudest gag I've ever gagged. And I pray she didn't hear me like as she walked out, but she probably did. And so then I'm in front of this fucking employee, like public toilet in a fucking chopstick shop, like spit just like dripping out of my mouth. And I'm like, okay, let's just get it up. Let's just get it up. So it gets to the point where like low key, I'm like purposely gagging to just get it over with. Cause I hate the in-between feeling of like I'm going to puke, but it hasn't happened yet. And so eventually I get it up. All right, I champion through, I spit, whatever, go to the sink, wash my mouth out. That was maybe a total of like 5 minutes. And then I stand back up and I feel better. Okay, so mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Sometimes being a puker is beneficial because then you feel better, right? I didn't have to fight through nausea anymore. My stomach did feel kind of weird though. So I just walked back into the room and I looked at Hunter and I went, it happened. And he was like, oh. But he's also so used to it. Like one time when I was teaching, I literally, we were catered Italian food or something that day. Like all the teachers got Italian food. And I don't know what was in the lasagna, but it made me very nauseous. And I threw up when I got home, like 20 minutes before I had to leave to go back for our concert that night. And I literally was like, all right, see you later. Like went to the car and told my coworkers, like, yeah, I puked not too long ago, guys. It might happen again, but I'll power through. Like, I'm just about that life, okay? If there's something I can do to make it easier, I'm gonna do it. So then I was able to happily finish carving our chopsticks. They were so cute. And we carved our name in English on one side of each stick, and then on the other side of each stick had our name in like, I don't know if it's like kanji. It's like the simplified Japanese writing. And like the worker, that wasn't even an idea of ours. The worker came up and was like, oh, a lot of people do this where like they get their name in like the Japanese characters. And I was like, oh shit, that's so cool. So the sticks are so cool. Very happy we did that. Get back to the hotel. Still feel the most exhausted we have both ever felt in our entire lives. And like for Hunter, he's like, I didn't know jet lag was like this, man. And all by like, I've never felt more jet lagged than Japan. And it makes sense because it was the biggest time difference. But so we look at each other and we're like, okay, we can either go and explore Japanese food right now, or we can hit up 7-Eleven because we've heard 7-Eleven is amazing here. And so that's exactly what we did. We had 7-Eleven for dinner. And it was great. Like they had great sushi options, just like overall very respectable food. The fruit was amazing. We also discovered green tea Haagen-Dazs ice cream, which I have declared is my favorite Haagen-Dazs flavor, and I hope I can find it in the States. I've never seen it in the States, but it doesn't sound that crazy. I mean, it's green tea, but oh my God, it was like, this is how I know I'm getting old, because when I ate it, my first thought was, wow, it's not too sweet. Ah! That's how you know I'm getting close to 30. And so we had that for dinner. And then the next day, we went out and did like real life Mario Kart, quote unquote. It was literally just us in these like low key, like re-engineered go-karts Where like when you think of a go-kart, you think of like this little itty bike and you take it in circles like in an arena. No, we like hopped in these go-karts and we had a tour guide drive us in the like Japanese streets, like we're on their streets, low-key on the highway at some points. I don't know if they have highways, but like big streets that reminded me of highways. And like are going like 60 miles an hour. Like not 60 kilometers, like 60 miles an hour, like woo, like in these fucking go-karts. It was amazing. We did a 2-hour tour. We did have to get our international license for it. So if you're somebody who's thinking about doing something like that, you do have to do a lot of prep beforehand. But getting your international license was so easy. Like you don't even have to take a test. You just show them your license and then pay them money and they give you an international license, which I'm like, what the fuck is the point of this? You just wanted $38 from me, but okay. We did that. That was amazing. Got so many cute photos from it. Got to see so many things and also got to be in these streets. Cause what? And then like people were like stopping and like taking pictures of us. And I was like, hey, you either really hate me right now or are genuinely amused. And I don't know which one, but I'm having a great time. And then the next day we met up with my cousin and her boyfriend because they had already been in Tokyo before we got there, but they were in Kyoto and Osaka. And then we all met up in Tokyo on Sunday. And this is where like the group activity started, which was really fun. So the first night we met up with my cousin and her boyfriend, we had oh my God, why am I blinking on the word? Oh my God, thank you. Stop listening. Put your headphones in. God, Hunter's listening. I demand that he puts headphones in when he's home while I record these episodes because it makes me embarrassed. But yes, we went to an omakase, which is basically where you pick a menu and then the chef will like make it right in front of you. And it's all like sushi based stuff, particularly onigiri, which is like raw fish over rice. And traditionally you eat this with wasabi, but I am not a wasabi girl. And it's not because it's too spicy. Honestly, wasabi doesn't give spicy to me. I don't like the nose sensation and I just like don't really like the flavor. But we were in Japan and I was like, okay, I need to be open-minded. So I'm allowing the wasabi to be put on because they asked us before, does anybody want no wasabi? And I was like, no, I'll take some wasabi. We start eating the sushi. The sushi's great. The wasabi is not hitting for me. Like it's not fully ruining it, but I'm like, I would enjoy this 10 times more if there was no wasabi. So maybe a third of the way through our course, because it was like 19 courses of food. I kind of get the chef's attention. I'm like, hey, could we do less wasabi, please? And he's like, huh? I like look at him and I'm like less, and I'm like motioning with my hands like small. I was like less wasabi, like just a little less. And he looks at me and he's like, I could see in his head he's like calculating, and then he was like, oh, okay, yeah, less. And then he grabs the biggest heaping glob of wasabi, puts it on the next piece of sushi he's gonna give me. And I stare at him as he does this, and all of us are just looking at him. And then we all immediately start dying. And I felt bad because I could see after he did it, he like noticed that we were laughing and he could tell something was wrong. And I think what happened is I think he thought less meant more. And what I really should have said was, I feel like I should have said little, because I feel like maybe he would have knew that word, like little tiny. But I think he just misinterpreted it. So he grabs a bunch of wasabi, slams it on my next piece of sushi. We're all dying, and he pauses with the sushi in his hand, and he's staring at us like, and he honestly looked like he was maybe around our age, like somewhere in his 20s, maybe like later 20s. And he's just staring at us like, and I look at him and I'm like, no, it's okay, just keep going. And he's like, and I'm like, yeah. Yeah. And so I got to really familiarize myself with wasabi that night. It was a great experience. Tried sea urchin, which I've seen people say they're like absolutely in love with. Did not like it. I liked the texture, very creamy, very, very like fishy tasting. I was not expecting it. Like literally felt like fresh out of the ocean fish in my mouth. And I love fish, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. Maybe when we go back, because we do plan on going back to Japan, I could hit it up again, see how I feel. The day after that, we all went to a sumo show. So a big thing that I wanted to do while we were in Japan is I was like, I've seen TikToks of people going to sumo shows where it's kind of like the same concept as medieval times. I think I talked about this on a previous episode, but kind of the same concept. Like you get a meal and then like you watch performers do like an older schooled performance of something. But instead of jousting, it was sumo. And so we were fed this delicious meal with matcha pudding, which was so good. And then a guy came out and two sumo wrestlers and a geisha at one point. And they taught us the history of sumo. And then they taught us how to like watch a match and how the matches worked. And then we actually like watched a match between the two sumo wrestlers. And man, when I tell you we got up close and personal with these sumo wrestlers, like they were bending over and I could see the hyperpigmentation in between their thighs. And I was like, oh my God, sister. I was like, sister, you're like me for real? Are you chafing? And so, like, what took me by surprise, and I guess I should have guessed this, is there was like a heavy comedic aspect to this show. I was expecting like, oh, this is just going to be a cool experience to learn about sumo wrestling and like see it up close. No, like this show was funny as fuck. They were cracking jokes left and right. The two sumo wrestlers were amazing. We were split up into teams. Obviously, I started beefing with the other team sumo wrestler. And I have a video in my phone because the room is very small. So like it's like maybe the size of like a small house. Like I think our house maybe would be, because we live in a small house, it's like maybe 13, like that was like the entire room. And it has like 4 rows on each side of the room and then the sumo ring in the middle, but sumo rings aren't very big, so it's a very intimate space. So like you're getting to like really look these people in the eyes. They're like interacting with you directly. And so I started beefing with the other side sumo wrestler because every time he did some shit, I was like, boo! And like the workers were like laughing at our corner, like with me, Hunter, and my cousin and her boyfriend, because we were loud as fuck. Like the other side, it'd be like, all right, you guys give it up for your sumo wrestler. And that side would be like, woo. And then it'd be like, all right, this side, give it up for your sumo wrestler. And we'd be like, woo. And the workers would like point and laugh at us. But like the sumo wrestler for our team, he like ate that shit up. He was like, hell yeah. So the other guy, anytime he did some shit, we were booing him. And eventually he was like walking up to our side to say something. And I held up the loser symbol on my forehead because he was doing it to us first. You know, put that out there, okay? And in the video, you don't see me put it up because I'm recording him, but I have the L symbol on my forehead and he goes, ha ha, and then like almost looks like he wants to say fuck you to me. And he like puts his fist in the air like he wants to hit me. And I started dying. Like those sumo wrestlers were awesome. And they were like actual retired professional sumo wrestlers. We got to learn about all of the stuff they had to do while they were actively like training and then eventually doing it as a living. Which like we found out sumo wrestlers, one, extremely flexible in the hips. Like, oh my God, they were doing things that I know I can't. Well, one, I'm not that flexible, but two, like they were getting into squats and like lifting their legs in the air. And I was like, damn, mama, your hips can rotate. Because I was surprised. Okay, they were big, but they can move. And then we found out that like in their training and like when you're maintaining that lifestyle, you eat 2 meals a day, but it has to equate to about 20 to 30,000 calories a day. And we were like, holy shit. But then they were like, we actually really liked it though. That was my favorite part because I got to eat. And I was like, valid, because everything else sounds really hard. So we go through this whole show. It's a great time. Highly recommend going to a sumo show. But at some point, as they're demonstrating things that can happen in sumo matches that like will determine if somebody wins or not, they're like, somebody can lose if they lose their belt. And then they demonstrate what that'll look like. And so one of the sumo wrestlers, the guy who was actually on our team, he unwraps the belt off of this other guy. And I'm thinking, oh, surely even though their crack is all out, like literally, if you've like looked at a sumo wrestler from the back, like it's essentially like the biggest wedgie of their entire life in the back. I was like, surely they have some sort of thong on. No, no. This man fully unwraps him, and the guy's holding the front cloth of his belt, and he's walking up to people like, oh, and he's like lifting it down, like you fully start seeing like, oh my God. And I was not expecting this because I was always told, like, Japanese people are super conservative and like very like, I don't know, just like they wouldn't do something like that. But no, this man like fully almost had his thing out in front of us, came up to our side, goes up to my cousin's boyfriend, and is like, whoa, and like pulling the clock down, like about to show his dick. I'll just say it. He was about to show it. And he puts his foot and grips. I have a video of this. It's so funny. He grips the edge of my table for stability. And you just see in the video his toes grasping the corner as he's like in my cousin's boyfriend's face, like pulling it down. Bro, and the screams that we were screaming. And then he like walks away and then gets wrapped back up. And we're like, oh, I didn't know you were like that, Japan. I didn't know you had it in you. And so then eventually we get to the end of like this whole demonstration, and then we watch a match between the two guys. And then our guy obviously wins because he had a great support system. And eventually they go, hey, does anybody in the audience want to wrestle one of the guys? Like, we'll take volunteers. And look, we all knew it was gonna be Hunter. Okay, let's not play around and act dumb. We knew it was gonna be Hunter. So all three of us, we look at Hunter and go, huh? You wanna go? And he was like, no. Okay, fine. And he gets up, and I have a video in my phone of my husband wrestling a sumo wrestler. And I am proud to say he lasted the longest out of every single person in that ring. Okay? So kudos to him. And it was hilarious. And at the end, like, he got a hug and a picture with the guys. It was so cute. And then at the very end, we all got to like give a high five to the guys and like shake their hands and then take pictures. It was amazing. So much fun. Probably one of the funniest things I've ever done on a trip. And also just like one of the most educational. So yes, 10 out of 10 experience. Go to a sumo show when you go to Japan. After that day where we went to the sumo show, the next couple of days, we didn't really have anything set in stone plan-wise. Oh, I completely forgot though. Me and Hunter did go to a tea ceremony before meeting up with my cousin. And in the tea ceremony, we got to put on kimonos. We got to make matcha from scratch. It was amazing. We got like little desserts. We were in a group, and one of the other women in the group like clearly did not like matcha and was like trying to hide it, but like everybody, including the instructor, could tell. Like she'd take sips of it and she'd be like, and then like her friends with her would like laugh and stuff and make it obvious. It low-key was annoying me because I'm like, okay, y'all, like you don't have to laugh and make it that big of a deal because like low-key it's a little disrespectful in my opinion. But it was a beautiful ceremony. We got to learn a lot about like tea etiquette in Japan. Got super cute photos and kimonos. But other than like those couple of things I listed, everything else we did was not like set at a time where we needed an appointment. Hey y'all, editing Danielle here. I fully just lied and realized I forgot to mention Shibuya Sky. Also, if you're watching this, please ignore Hunter playing Elden Ring in the background. But yes, we did have one more scheduled thing that we did. We went to Shibuya Sky, which is like this 47-story tall building that you get to go to the top to and look down at Shibuya and just like really get to see Tokyo from a really cool perspective. And what we didn't know was that it was outside. And when we went, it was a cloudy day and kind of a little rainy. So it wasn't like the sky looked beautiful, but I felt like I was going to get blown off that building. Was I a little scared? Yes, but it was exhilarating. Also, was I very much cold? Also, yes, but Hunter runs hot. So it worked out. It balanced out. But that was really, really cool. If you're somebody who's thinking about doing it when you go to Japan, definitely go. You could get some cool pictures, and it's a cool place to like chill out, maybe grab a snack and just like have some pretty views. It was beautiful. All we really did each day was we woke up, We got matcha from Cloud Club Matcha because holy shit. Cloud Club's matcha is the best matcha I've ever had in my entire life. And if I had discovered it earlier, I would have gotten it quite literally every single day we were there. But no, we only got to get it 4 days in a row, which breaks my heart. And one of those days, I had it twice, which was amazing. And then just shopping. That's really what we did. We like walked around, went to restaurants, shopped, tried, oh my God, Ichiran, the like quote unquote overhyped ramen spot where you like sit in individual booths. Like you're kind of by yourself, but you can lean back and like see other people right next to you. But like if you really need to, you could just like put up blinders and like dig in. The best ramen I've ever had. Also the cheapest ramen I've ever had. Me and Hunter together got the like deluxe ramen with extra meat and egg, all of the like extras. He got a Japanese beer. I got additional rice. All of that for 25 bucks. And that was like essentially the vibe of the entire trip in regards to food. Like we're getting high quality, delicious meals for a very affordable price. And all it made me think was, wow, America is so fucking expensive. Oh my God. And then I was thinking, oh my God, what do Japanese people do when they come here? And they're like, yeah, we have so much money saved. And then they come here and it's like that meal alone that we got at that ramen spot probably would have been damn near $60 over here. Like, oh, I feel bad for them. But dude, yeah, we just shopped, ate, and explored. We ended up going to this like beautiful park in Shibuya. I forgot what the name of the park was, but we went at like 9 o'clock at night. And so there were like no tourists. It was all Japanese locals. And they're like just living their lives. Like some of them were doing double dutch, like with jump ropes. Some of them are like rehearsing dance routines. Some people were just like on dates. And then a lot of people, including women, were just like on a jog. And I was like, could you imagine being a woman in the United States and going to a park in the middle of a major city at 9 o'clock at night and feeling safe enough to run? Need I say more? While we were at that park, I made sure to get some cute pictures of my nails. Okay, if you haven't seen them, they're Japanese cherry blossoms by my nail lady that I've literally been going to for over 4 years at this point, or almost 4 years at this point. Her name's Jenny. Shout her out. They're actually so sharp because I did more of like a stiletto, like pointy almond. They're so sharp that while I was in the shower in Japan, I was shaving my legs and then like I think the razor started slipping out of my hands and I went to grab it and it fully drops to the floor because I missed it, but my nail cut into my palm, like actually sliced my palm. It's right here and it was like bleeding and everything. And I was like, ow, but also, damn, Jenny, okay, shaping. Okay, high quality. But so I got some cute pictures of my nails with the flowers in the park that night, and like I had the flash on, and they're so beautiful. One of the places we had to go to, obviously, was the Onitsuka Tiger store. And we went to the one where you could do the free embroidery, but unfortunately, the pair I picked, you can't embroider it because I don't know. I guess the like material was softer on it, so I didn't get a personal pair, but I did get them straight from Japan. So they were way cheaper than they would have been if I got them in the States. And they were so much cheaper than if we would have gotten them here that I actually got 2 pairs. Hunter got 1 pair. And then Hunter got a pair of Nikes over there that was cheaper. And I got a pair of Docs while I was over there because I love Doc Martens. And I had been eyeing that exact pair in the States, which would have been over, I think they would have been over $180 after tax. In Japan, after tax, they were $130. What is going on, America? Why is everything so expensive? I mean, we know why. But, like everything was so much cheaper there. Oh my God, for our gamers out there, the Switch 2 in Japan with the Mario Kart World bundle. Mind you, that bundle in America is like over $500, damn near $600. Over there after tax, $320. Okay, so we're moving to Japan. We're moving to Japan. obviously, because we're doing things in public, I had to embarrass myself at least some point. So while we were shoe shopping, I like stood up to look at these shoes in the mirror, tripped over the shoebox that they came in, but simultaneously kicked the shoebox at the same time as I tripped over it. So then when I caught myself on that leg, the box slid beneath my foot and I fully crushed and like broke the box. Like you saw it like rip open on one side. And I look up and there's like a crowd of people with one employee. And this, I felt like I was in a fucking movie. It was like a group of customers and then an employee in the middle, and she had a mask on, but she was like holding another shoebox. And all I see is her wide eyes, like looking at me and then looking at the box and then looking back at me. And I just look at her and I go, sorry, sumimasen. I'm sorry. Like, and I just like sit down and I'm like, oh my fucking God. And then later, the worker who was actively like helping me get shoes, she was like, oh my God, yeah, my coworker was telling me about a lady who just broke a shoebox. And I was like, ha, that was me, girl. Sorry, sumimasen. Yeah. And she was like, oh, and I was like, I know, I'm sorry. And she was like, no, like it's inevitable, it'll happen. And she was like, oh, she just thought it was really funny. And I was like, really? Because she did not laugh. She did not laugh at all. And she was saying like maybe she didn't because like she would have thought it would have came off as rude to laugh at me. And I was like, no, girl, I wish she laughed at me because I felt really embarrassed. It was very embarrassing. And yeah, but I still bought a pair of shoes. So look, I made up for it. But yeah, that pretty much sums up like major points of the trip. We just explored, ate, shopped. It was beautiful. We want to go back to Japan because on this trip, we were only there for 6 days and we stayed in Tokyo the entire time. We knew Tokyo was like this huge city, and I think it's like one of, if not the largest city in the world. And it really is, dude. Like the different districts in it damn near feel like different states almost. Like there's such different vibes. And so we stayed there the whole time to really get comfortable with Tokyo. And this trip's vibe was like, we're getting to learn modern day Japan. But next trip, I want to really get into like historical Japanese stuff. Cause like we visited a few temples and stuff, but we didn't like really dive into the history of Japan or like go see Mount Fuji or like go to other cities. Like I do really want to go to Kyoto. I do want to go to Osaka and like maybe just like even somewhere more rural just to really get around. Because here it was very much like very touristy, like practically everyone we met spoke English. Like I want to be somewhere where it's like nobody knows what I'm saying and I don't know what they're saying, but where we're having a great time. Like I'm getting to learn and experience like where their culture is from. So yes, we definitely want to go back. On the way back from Japan, unfortunately, me and Hunter did not get Delta 1 again. I did get upgraded to premium and I wish I didn't take it so I could have just stayed with Hunter, but I was thinking, look, premium will still be really good. And Hunter's like, yeah, take it, like so you can sleep, you know, blah, blah, blah. I took it, didn't even sleep. Should have stayed next to my Pukikins. That's what I get. I know, I won't do it again. We get back to the States and we stay in Georgia. And the reason we stay in Georgia is because me and my cousin were going to drag her boyfriend and Hunter to Florida with us for a concert for a group that I'm not going to be specific about, but they had their first American stop for their tour in Tampa, Florida. And so we went, we were day one. I feel a little betrayed, if you know, you know, because the other days of that stop for them got the surprise songs of our lives, specifically one that was like the only song me and my cousin were like, dude, please, if there's one that they give us, because there's 2 surprise songs that happen for each stop. If there's one song they give us, I don't care what they give us after it. If there's one song, like they give us that one. And then they gave us another song. That's not bad. Okay, look, that's not bad, but it's like, you could tell they released that song just to play the game of the American charts. But like, that's not why we're there, because we're like OGs. Bro, they gave day 2. The day after we were there, they gave day 2 the song we wanted. And like fully like convinced us that they were about to give us that song on the day. They're like reading signs and they're like, oh, everybody's asking for the song. I wonder why. All right, DJ, spin that shit. And then they played the other song and we were like, when I tell you the crowd went mild, like, and I thought, little bad because it's like, I don't want to seem ungrateful. Like, I'm so glad you guys are here. But literally, like, you could hear the entire stadium get quiet because we're hyped thinking we're about to get this iconic song. And then it was like, all right, do, dee-doo, dee-doo. And we were like, oh, fuck, okay. Yeah. And you could see it on their faces that they were like, oh, shit. And then they did the next day. And then they did another great song the day after that. Bro, I think what I'm thinking, and if you understand what I'm even referring to, what I'm thinking is day one saved everybody because they had a certain idea in their minds of what their American audiences would have wanted. And then when they saw the reaction, they were like, ooh, okay, so they are about that life. And they started giving us what we actually want. So you're welcome. Are me and my cousin going to a different stop of their tour in August in Dallas? Absolutely. Why not? Why not? We wouldn't have to buy a hotel because my mom lives up there. Why see it once when we could see it twice? Are we also going to see it? Ugh, I can't even talk. Are we also considering seeing it a third time? You be the judge of that. Okay? All right? You only live once. But that trip down to the concert was insane because we got back. So we left Japan on Thursday. Then got back because of how time travel works. We got back at an earlier time on Thursday in the States. And then we're dead all day, made ourselves stay up until like 10, went to sleep. Or I ended up staying up until like 1, went to sleep, woke up at 11. I didn't let myself go back to sleep, but my cousin and my husband stayed asleep until like 3. Hunter stayed asleep until like 4. And then I had other cousins that wanted to hang out that night. And we were like, okay, guys, we have to drive to Florida in the morning on Saturday because that was Friday at that point. So we were like, we can't stay up too late. Ended up staying up until after 3, just chatting about life because I love my cousins. Okay, sue me. And then we had to get up at like fucking 5 something to leave at 6 a.m. Didn't really sleep on the drive down to Tampa because like it was like a 7-hour drive and I couldn't get comfortable, but like I'm closing my eyes and you know you're like in that weird limbo. So I didn't sleep. Then we get to the hotel, immediately had to get ready to the concert, go to the concert, get back to the hotel at like midnight and then eat dinner. I'm in bed at like 1. At this point, it's Sunday morning. Had to get up at 4, so I only got like 3 hours of sleep. Went to the airport, got back to Texas on Sunday at like 10. And then we ate breakfast there, picked up the dogs, came back home. It's like 2 o'clock by then. Fell asleep until 5 and then didn't let ourselves go back to sleep. And then immediately had work the next day. And I had a late day on Monday. I didn't get home until 9. And then I had a late day on Tuesday. I didn't get home until like a little after 8. And then today, like I mentioned earlier, usually I work from home and I got to sleep in a little bit. But I have felt dead all day. I'm starting to wake up a little bit more now that I've been like talking to the camera. But shout out my coworker. He was like, yeah, girl, just get some sleep. Like you could come to the next session of this. And I was like, thank you. And so here I am. And that's about it. Do I have anything else to talk about? No, I think that's it. I'm exhausted, but I'm very grateful that I was able to go on such an amazing trip with the people that I love. And I can't wait for the next trip. Next stop, I want to go to South Korea. And I low-key want to go there for New Year's Eve because I feel like it'd be lit. And then I also want to piggyback off of Japan from South Korea in the same trip because they're like right next to each other. It's like an hour flight. But yeah, that was it. Now I gotta rate the last 2 weeks of my life. And what should I give it? I bet you're thinking 5 stars. Wrong. Since this is the John Doe review, my review is going to be 4.9 stars. And I bet you're wondering, Danielle, what the heck? What about that 0.1? You did all these amazing things. You were surrounded by life and love. You want to know where that 0.1 went? It's still in Japan. It would have been 5 stars if I never left. But no, I had a great time. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. There's still many more stories from Japan, but I kind of just gave you the highlights. I have many, many pictures, many, many videos. If you're someone in my life who has my number and you want to see things, specifically Hunter wrestling that sumo person, hit me up. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, like, comment, do all the things, and I will see you in 2 weeks, like I always do. And I hope one day all of you get to experience the glory and joys of traveling abroad. Bye.